What does a miracle look like to you? Think about it. And you might think, oh, I'll know a miracle when I see one. But do you really? And what if miracles happen to you all the time and you just don't notice them? To me, it's a miracle that I'm standing here at this TEDx event. Because, as Malte mentioned, about 5 years ago, I did not believe in miracles at all. I felt insignificant. For the longest time, I thought everybody else was put on this planet with a purpose, except for me. So it was no wonder I went into a burnout. And I remember at some point, I got so frustrated. I thought, I'm just going to pray to whoever's out there to give me a sign, a clear clue on what to do. And I promised them I would listen, and I promised them I would do whatever they asked me to. And guess what happened? Nothing. Worse than nothing. I fell from a burnout into a depression. How's that for a sign? Fortunately, by that time, I had surrounded myself with some of the best coaches and therapists, and I pulled myself out of the pit I'd been sitting in. And it dawned on me that I actually had a saying over my life. And the biggest light bulb moment for me was when I discovered that only I am responsible for my life. Meaning, it's nobody else's responsibility whether I'm happy or not, nor am I responsible for anybody else's happiness. So how did I go from there to noticing miracles? Once I discovered that I had an influence on my life, I also noticed that that was only in the present moment. As in, I couldn't influence the past anymore. It's already gone. And the future, well, that only exists in my mind. So what I started doing is noticing, like, what am I feeling? Am I happy? Am I sad? And what am I thinking? And what else is going on? And that's when I started noticing them, the miracles. I can point out a couple more, but I'll give you a real-life example instead. Because I also remember the moment I had to call the bank's department of debt payments overdue for the first time. And I'm saying the first time because it wasn't the last time. And I had my phone in one hand and their number in the other. And I was just trembling all over, thinking, I wish I did not have to call these people. I wish I could just pay them what I owe them. But that didn't help. I wasn't making the call. So I figured I need to change my thinking, come up with something different. And I realized, well, the bank wants my money. I need more time to get them the money. Maybe we could strike a deal. And the phone call itself really wasn't that bad, actually. I spoke to a bank employee who asked me how I planned to get them the money. I said, I'm waiting for other people to pay me. And I said, I'll keep you informed, you know. And I hung up the phone, and then a small miracle happened. I realized all the time I'd been afraid of the bank, of an organization big enough to put me out on the street, which was, let's face it, my biggest fear. But I hadn't had a conversation with the bank. I had spoken to one person. Someone who could influence what would happen next, yes, but one person all the same. And that realization changed every subsequent phone call, whether it was with the bank or with the insurance company or with the phone company, because I was owing a lot of people a lot of money. And every time I would think, I am going to be on the phone with another human being, and we are going to create a win-win situation. So that small miracle led to a bigger one. I was able to sell my apartment in Amsterdam for a record amount. And with that money, I could move from the Netherlands to France, which was my big dream. Nobody had expected that, not even me. But I did insist on miracles. So, all around me, in my life, I see a lot of people sigh and complain about the slightest setback, and that's fine, and it's normal. But I also see a lot of people getting stuck in that, and it turns their lives into a rut. You see, the human brain is hardwired to look for trouble. It's called the negativity bias. And a negativity bias is the tendency to prefer the negative over the positive. If you go back to the time where we were cavemen, it totally makes sense. I mean, you'd have saber-toothed tigers lurking in the bushes, and a positive attitude wasn't really going to save your life. Nowadays, there's not so many tigers lurking around anymore. But we're still being plagued by this prehistorical conditioning. And the attitude society teaches us doesn't help either. To me, it's like we're being brainwashed through the news, through social media, to expect the worst instead of the best. So it's probably because of these negative tendencies that miracles are generally being perceived as huge happenings. The kind of stuff that doesn't happen to the ordinary Jane or Joe. And I disagree. To me, miracles happen on a daily basis. And they have added more gratitude and happiness to my life. You see, if you're waiting for that one big miracle, that one big break, you miss out on all the small miraculous moments in between. And you put your life into an everlasting waiting room where you're saving your real appreciation for that one big break. The way I look at my life, the way that has changed, my new perception is a miracle to me. And where my thoughts changed on the inside, my actions changed on the outside. So nowadays, I say a couple of affirmative sentences every day. And for the skeptics among you, affirmations have scientifically been proven to enhance your thinking, your creativity, and your performance. And one of the phrases I say is, I expect miracles in my life. Now you may think, who am I to expect miracles all the time? And why don't I wish them on people who really need a miracle? I'm not being naive, trust me. And I've told you, adversity happens to me as well. But when it does, I always expect to receive a lesson. And discovering that lesson can be a miracle too. You see, if there's anything I'd like to share with you today, is that miracles are not a matter of deserving. They are a matter of perceiving situations, incidents, coincidences as miraculous. That's where the difference lies between feeling lucky for a moment and feeling happy most of the time. And it also makes me no different from you. It's not that I experience all these miracles because I have more right to them than you do. I just recognize them. So, if it weren't for my best friend and business partner, Kathy Quanten, who had overheard a conversation back in the Netherlands, I would not be standing here. Generally, this is called synchronicity, being at the right place at the right time. I am calling it a miracle. If you think that I'm just lucky and this could never happen to you, let's go back to where it started for me. Are you taking responsibility for your own life, for your own happiness? Because that's where it all starts. Are you recognizing what's happening in the moment? And then perceiving whether it could be more special than usual? Making miracles part of your daily life does not make them less miraculous. I'm not trying to suck the magic out of miracles, trust me. If anything, I'd like to add more magic to anything. And also, you may have noticed, I haven't given you a definition of what a miracle is. Who am I to decide that for you? That would definitely make them less magical. I want to know though, do you think differently about what a miracle looks like to you now? Have you perhaps come up with some different examples? Because that would be a miracle to me. Thank you.